Why, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Ray Fernando and Ronald Manak, and welcome to our video podcast where we dive into an exciting world of AI, tech innovation, and entrepreneurship. Our show brings together two accomplished individuals with diverse backgrounds and expertise in the tech industry. So first, we have me, Ray. I spent about 12 years at Apple, starting this journey at the Genius Bar and eventually finding myself into the studio behind the scenes with Johnny Ives, and also in the office of Tim Cook and deeply involved with the groundbreaking Apple Watch. I'm now on my own exploring AI and doing this show with my co-host here, Ronald Manak, and I'll just let you introduce yourself as well there, Ronald.
All right, thank you, Ray. So yeah, my name is Ronald. I'm the developer of Pico AI assistant that's in the App Store for iOS and macOS. I'm also the creator of Pico MLX server and a bunch of open source AI tools that all start with the name Pico that are on GitHub /Pico MLX. Just made a organization for that. So that's GitHub /Pico MLX.
That's excellent. That's excellent. So yes, thank you for joining us today. We have a pretty great live stream and a bunch of news set up for you. So some of the latest breaking news that just happened are some announcements from OpenAI, and they have some spring updates. And I'm going to have Ronald go ahead and introduce that a little bit later. But first, let's go ahead and just talk about some stuff that's been happening that I've been seeing on my radar this past week. And I saw this project from Dravia. And what we do is talk about just various things that are on our radar or people who are building cool stuff, and we love to feature them on our show. And the thing that I saw that came across my radar this past week was this thing called Markdowner that he made. So one of my problems I have for scraping websites or just even GitHub repos or trying to get that information, squeeze it into an LLM and get some information back out of it. So what he's done is made a tool to convert websites into Markdown data. And if you don't know, if you've ever interacted with a large language model like ChatGPT or Claude, they tend to respond very well using Markdown. So a tool like this is extremely helpful to structure the data so that you can start asking it questions. And so this could be really interesting, especially since we start getting into the large context models that have like 1 million or so tokens, like the Google stuff that's coming in with Gemini. And so Markdowner is going to be there, and I'm going to also have this available in the show notes. I'm also going to have this on the my X post as well for those going to be looking for this. But this is a really cool tool from Dravia. He's like my favorite producer kid that is like a college age and just really just pumping out stuff left and right, and amazing dev. So if you haven't had a chance to go follow him, please definitely go follow him. Another thing that came into my radar is one of my other things I use a lot is called if you're familiar with the project Magnific AI, where you can do upscaling, and basically you can do this for free on Hugging Face. And this person has basically used the high diffusion SDL model and now supports like image to image. So basically you can go onto the actual Hugging Face for free, upload an image like Laura Croft, and literally slide it in and do your own little like. Isn't this crazy? This is just super fun and super cool. So you can do that with a bunch of other images. They have one here, like you can give it a prompt of this like photorealistic thing, and it just kind of makes a photorealistic rendering of this painting here. So, but for me, I find this one more fun because you could just literally just turn like an old Laura Croft image, from PlayStation into like a real thingy. So I think that's really interesting. So that's just from this project here. And this is also going to be in the show notes. And you can basically just click on this Hugging Face space, upload your own image, and do your own thing, which would be kind of fun. And so the other thing that came to my radar also this past week was this 4 million context links for Llama-3, the 8 billion parameter model. And it's just really quite amazing because right out of the box, the model only has 8,000 token window or something like that. So that means you can have about 10 pages or so of like 12 space font. If you have about that, that's kind of like the context window that we're normally dealing with this model, but with 4 million tokens, it's a context window. It's actually really, really, really large. So they were able to do a lot of black magic here to get this working. Obviously, this was part of this gradient post, and these folks actually host these models. So for people who are in the enterprise space or who are looking to do something interesting that doesn't involve, if you wanted to kind of maybe take things private and do stuff with, you can reach out to them. None of this stuff is sponsored. I'm just kind of, this has come across my radar, and I thought I would share it with y'all if you guys are building and actively trying to make products for enterprise, or even just do stuff in the open source space and play around with this. So this is a really great article kind of showing you how they were able to get this whole thing figured out there. And so the other thing that kind of came to my radar, which was really interesting, was this post from Amjad, this explore.globe.engineer. It's basically a really cool way to see information and explore things. So what you can do is like type in something like motor systems, and what it does is basically start to really quickly fill out a structured list so that you can start going down and start kind of digging deep into things. So if you just wanted to know about like we were just taking motor systems, like you're just learning about motors, you can just really get a quick rundown. It's like, wow, there's a whole thing about DC motors and AC motors. Oh, I didn't know that. Let's go ahead and go into AC motors. And this just gives us a quick information there. So like think, and you could just click and see, it looks like it's AI generated. This page was so viral that they had to shut it down and then bring it back up again and introduce a pro, turbo, and research phase so that you can actually start browsing and doing these things. So definitely check it out. This is a really great way to just start digging in, and especially if you're just an information nerd like me, you want to know something that you just don't know about, like investing. You could just go, all right, let's just figure out investing real quick. You're like, oh, wow, this is everything I need to know about how to get started. There's bonds. Like bonds are just confusing to me. How do I? Oh, there's government bonds, there's corporate bonds. You can see the picture right here. So definitely encourage you to go check it out. This is a really cool, really awesome website, explorer.globe.engineer. And I think the guys that are doing this work are just amazing for that type of stuff. And then lastly, before we get into the OpenAI stuff, there's been a lot of saga about the iPad ad that's just been getting crushed. Literally, basically, I think they've had to pull the commercial because their iPad ad is showing a bunch of vintage hardware literally being crushed, and it's been actually causing so much buzz and controversy on the internet. And I don't even know if it's actually real or not. This could be like a Sora model or something that's making this up. But I don't know. It's been kind of really interesting. But just kind of moving on to Sam Altman's, and would love to hear kind of what you saw on the radar there, Ronald, as you kind of give me some awareness about the latest breaking news.
Yeah, this was interesting. So yesterday, I think it was Bloomberg who reported that OpenAI was going to introduce a search engine on Monday, and that search engine, of course, would be like their Google killer, or at least like the big competitor to Google. So that was super fascinating because we hadn't heard that before, I think. So when OpenAI this morning announced that they had a event coming up on Monday, my initial thought was, of course, like, okay, that has to be like the Google search announcements. But then Sam Altman tweeted right away this morning that it will not be a search engine, and it will not be GPT-5 either. But apparently it's big enough for them to host a live stream. So it cannot be like nothing, because they haven't used like vision for the API. I think like earlier this week they added some pretty cool improvements to the API as well last week. So there's a lot of things like going on already that are important for developers. So maybe this is not related to the developer community, but more to the end user. I mean, it's all speculation. We don't know. We don't know what will happen. Let's see what they come up with. It's kind of disappointing. It's not a search engine, because that would be the big thing.
Yeah. It's interesting that he's already saying that it's not these things, just to maybe tamper the expectations, because it's just been so hyped and so crazy. You should also know that I've been learning from that Sam Altman is apparently the king of like getting the internet super excited about everything. So, he's kind of like masterful at these things, and just like only dropping certain things or only saying very vague things in interviews. So it's just kind of really interesting, the playbook here that's kind of being dropped. It's like, yeah, we're going to do something else, but like just chill for a second. I'm also really curious because they've also been known to sort of snipe into Google's announcements. Like if someone's like Google's doing a big announcement, they'll just really quickly under the hood release something later that day and just completely overshadow them. And so this is really interesting here, like this approach of like what they could be announcing and what could they be talking about. And then they've already been like doing these really weird things where dropping models and renaming them these obscure things so that people really start chatting about them. And so like it'd be interesting to see kind of how they approach this whole playbook here and stuff like that. So yeah, man, I don't know, that's really that's interesting. The stuff that's basically around the book here. One of the other topics I want to kind of really get your opinion about is that well, guess what else is around the corner is the Worldwide Developer Conference from Apple.
Yeah.
And there could be a lot of really interesting stuff because the iPad was just announced its M4 architecture and, some little like spec bumps and things and quite a big spec bumps. And this is the first device that has the M4 chip, and just kind of wanted your take and what do you think like the hardware is going? And then maybe what are your thoughts on some of where the software is going as well?
Yeah, so that will be like the $1 million question. What Apple has been, in my opinion, blindsided by Gen AI. So I, based on like the products that they have, the state of their products, like Siri, I don't think they saw GPT coming at all. And I could be wrong, but that's kind of what my takeaway is from where they are right now. So they have to show. Excuse me, they have to show something at WWDC to make sure to convey the story that they are on top of AI right now. And they have a number of things already in place, right? I mean, they have been working on AI supported hardware. So the M chips and the A chips before that had already like the neural engine, which is a special computing unit on chip that unfortunately does not have an open API. So as a developer, you cannot access it, but Apple apparently uses it internally for a lot of things that you don't have any like clue about as a regular user. And yeah, that it's interesting to see what they're going to do with that. I mean, are they going to open it up? And will it be like this silver bullet that magically will like increase like the speed of AI or LM inference like by a factor 2 or 10, or is it something that was not made for LLMs, and maybe the improvement in speed is not as big as people hope that it will be? And then again, they still have to open up the API and create an API for that, which isn't there yet. So we don't know what's going to happen. We do know that Apple has open sourced a project called MLX, which is basically PyTorch for the M and A chips, so for Apple Silicon. And it's a project that has seen like huge improvements over the last couple of months. They started, it was like introduced in December of last year, so about 6 months ago. And we've seen like huge improvements in speed and in everything like every 1 or 2 weeks. So that's really exciting. So what are they planning to do with that? And honestly, I am a little bit confused. But on one hand, they have like the Core ML API, which is not for generative AI, but more for like the old like machine learning, like the HODOC or lag classifiers and these kind of things. And now they have like a full-blown PyTorch competitor, which I'm not exactly sure where things will fit in that future. So we do know, or do expect at least, that there will be a lot of consumer-facing AI features in the next iOS and macOS. So what is expected is a better Siri. I mean, and that's kind of that would be obvious, right? It would be obvious that there will be a better Siri, because Siri is, I don't know, 5 years behind. They have to have like a better Siri. If you don't have a better Siri, it's I would be very disappointed. I can't imagine that. But the big question is, what will they do for developers? Will Apple Silicon become like the de facto standard for developers to develop AI applications on? And I mean by that like local models, right? Local AI. And we haven't seen anything yet. I don't think there's any leaks about that. I've only seen like leaks about like the consumer facing AI parts, but not for developers. So um, yeah, it will be probably, I think, like the most important dub dub since, I don't know, the launch of the iPhone, maybe. What do you
Mm.
think, Ray?
I am trying to think about this in a couple different phases, considering how slow they move. It wouldn't surprise me if they decide to wait to announce
Ooh,
more stuff.
okay.
I think from the rumors I was looking at, they're saying that the M5 chip could be like the next big leap in things. And maybe you can kind of give a little bit of sauce, a little bit as far as like, because what I found really interesting that kind of made me think this way was like the fact that for the M4 iPad, what they revealed was document scanning. It's like, hey, we got rid of that extra camera, but we now have this document scanning thing. And so are they trying to like leave a little tea leaf saying, right now, the biggest thing people want is literally PDF.ai. It's like you go to your PDFs, ask it questions. So if you can just scan all these documents and have them available to have your own local RAG, like your like search improvements are just that much better. One, I think it keeps them people in the ecosystem is probably what they like. Like I think all the features that probably keep people in their ecosystem and doesn't allow them to do other things is probably where they're going with this. It's very developer friendly if you just expose an API to people and say, hey, developers, here's what you do. You can't really see the machinery underneath, but just trust us, bro. And like, if the users ask for documents, we won't necessarily give you those documents, but we can just give you like some embedding, like I don't know. This is just really pie in the sky stuff. I mean, this is all speculation. This is all kind of things, but it could just be some really small heart like low level tweaks at the bottom until maybe some of the other stuff starts to really come around on these devices. Granted, like you said, they've had this AI stuff in the background on their devices for some time, but it's been just very private, right? There's nothing exposed to the developers, and developers want more memory. They are basically they'd say, hey, can you make the NVIDIA thing, but also make it on the Apple thing? And I think that's not usually how they think. They from their history of what we've seen is like they do first principles thinking. They just say, what is an LLM and what do we really need LLMs and everything? And one of the things that came up in my ideas of things, it's like, well, why don't people actually start using LLMs to do embedded hardware? So what happens at the very lowest levels that we've seen Apple do already, they just said, hey, we're going to take the same operating system and push some updates so that we coalesce all the CPU cycles so that your battery now has 2 more hours of battery life. Literally the same piece of hardware. The only thing that happened was the software. That took how many engineers and how long for Apple to release an update to have that happen at the lowest level? So imagine if you have that type of knowledge that gets embedded into a really smart system like that for the lowest level things, like how often your display gets turned on. Does it always have to be at full brightness? Like making those types of decisions for the user that they don't have to think about is kind of what LLMs do really great at and what AI really does. It's like, can you make those decisions that are like beneficial to the user that over an hour, over a day, over a week, make a much greater impact so that your devices last longer, so that you have better battery life, so you have a better user experience. Like those are like the things that I want to see. And those don't require really large models. They can just be really tiny models that can run in the embedded systems or above the embedded systems, and then just take the feedback from that. And these little mini agents can do decisions. That's kind of where I think it's interesting, especially at the lowest level of things. But I think what we interact with is like the chat GPTs and the higher level operating system stuff. So that's kind of that's my wish list. I guess you could say it's like, give me the hot little low level optimization so we get like an hour, and so that your Rabbit device that's lasts longer than like half a day, right?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if people are doing that, but that's kind of what I think they'll announce. I don't think it'll just be that exciting, to be honest. I don't think it's going to be that crazy.
Really? Oh
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I had a discussion on Twitter earlier this week about like the M chips, that we shouldn't like expect miracles from like the next what is it, Mac Studio or Mac Pro
Mm,
or anything like that.
right.
Because anything that has been built in, what will be in the M4, the M4 Ultra or M4 Pro or whatever they call that,
Mm.
has been decided like probably more than a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. I don't know. But the specs were set in stone way before they knew what hit them with GPT and all the other like AI stuff. So I agree with you. Like on the hardware front, we shouldn't expect miracles. But apparently, from the benchmarks I saw, we will see a bump in definitely like performance from the M4 chip, which in itself is already exciting. But it won't be, it isn't the AI specific chip or the chip that was designed to handle AI, because that might be the M5, might be the M6, maybe M7. I mean, who knows what they already have planned for these things. But yeah, the software.
Yeah.
I hope. I mean, honestly, I hope you're wrong, Ray. I hope it will be insane. It will be amazing. This, dub. And I hope they will introduce like a lot of like things that we all have hoped for months.
That's totally true. Yeah. I mean, if you are listening, just drop a comment. Like, let us know what you want to see for the WWDC, and we'll definitely feature your comment in that little thing. Because part of the really cool things about doing live streams and doing the show live is that everyone can participate on this whole thing. So, drop your predictions, drop your whatever, your hot take. We'll see if we could feature your spicy take on the chat. So, yeah, no, I mean, that'll be really interesting. I also think just around the corner with Google I/O and like Meta and like there's these big players who are really trying to push the envelope and trying to get everyone's attention. One thing that kind of turns me off a little bit, is changing the subject a little bit, kind of back to OpenAI, is a little bit of their messaging. To me, this feels like I get this drug dealer vibe from them. It's like, hey, here is something really cool. And like you use it and you're like, oh my God, this GPT-4 is amazing. Holy wow, this model is just cracked. It's doing all my coding. I barely give it instructions. It's like writing all my code. And then like, a couple weeks later, it's just not as proficient as it was before. So like, if you take too much of a caffeine, it's not as effective the next time. So this is starting to kind of feel that way. I feel like this type of thing. And then they're trying to gaslight you saying, no, it's not you. It's maybe the way you prompt, bro. Like, or like, oh yeah, we're really busy. There's just a lot of GPUs. Like we need more GPUs, Oh, by the way, the cost could go up. Oh, we're going to do these types of things. And I feel like I'm led on. And then the messaging lately that they've been coming out from the COO and Sam Altman is just that I get the feeling is just, the way that they're messaging and they're just saying, don't focus and don't worry about being a prompt engineer because that's going to go away in the future. And they're talking about these hypotheticals without actually providing much data. And what is great is I'm very much an AI optimist. And I do believe like if we have a lot of compute and energy is not a problem and the models keep accelerating at the way that they do and more research happens, that yes, we'll have this crazy curve. But right now it's kind of flattening out. And then if you add more CPUs, if you add more data, how much more are you going to accelerate up into that curve? Are you going to keep going up or are you still going to stay flat? What does that look like? What research have you published that proves the points that you're saying? And then how far is that and how realistic is that? And so I actually think we're going into an era of what we're going to be deeming what, everyone's putting down prompt engineers the same way that people were putting down database wrappers, where a database wrapper is literally how you make a SaaS product today. You talk to a database, you store the data, you access it, you provide a user experience on top of it. And so the way language models work is that they take input via strings and then they get output. And that's it. Like, it's really simple. And people who are really good at giving it certain strings get better outputs than other people. And as models are tuned for very specific things, you need to know the exact strings and patterns and things that happen. And hey, that's an engineer. Like, how do you write software today? If you have a guy who does backend, he does backend software with databases really well. If you have a guy who writes just code for the user interfaces, they write specific code that performs really well for those types of tasks. And so the poo-pooing of prompt engineers to me, I really don't like that rhetoric that's kind of been passing around. And I feel like if you're an engineer or someone who's really curious with AI, you should just be prompting like crazy and like don't think that it's going to go away anytime soon. In fact, the more that you can dig in and better understand what's happening behind the scenes, the more valuable you're actually going to get. Because in today's economy, it's like how much value can you provide, using AI? And if you could do that for cheaper than someone else, you're going to get all the gigs. You're going to get a lot of money. And if you can continue to do that, you're going to just outpace people who are even established with teams of engineers. So that's kind of my hot take and my message to you if you're listening and you needed to hear this today. So that's my, I guess you can call that Sunday service, but today's Friday. So take this sword and take it with you and use it in the world of AI. I'll get up my
I mean,
yeah.
I think I interpreted it a little bit differently, the interview. I thought that they were referring to what if we make AIs or LLMs differently in the future, so that even a not particularly well formulated prompt will give you a good result nonetheless. So that the difference between like a good prompt and a bad prompt, or sorry, the difference in result quality between like a good prompt and a bad prompt will kind of minimalize, if that makes sense. But I'm not sure if that was what he meant by that. But that could be like a kind of thing for the next generation of LLMs, right?
Yeah, they keep hinting at, hey, we've seen something so much greater that you have to see. And that's kind of where I go back to my drug dealer take. It's like, yo, I got the goods. And by the way, you have to depend on me and pay me every time you use this thing. And it's going to cost you a lot of money because it cost me a lot of money. Well, not really, but that type of thing. It's like, yo, chill, bro. Chill on the drug dealer talk. I swear. I get it costs you money, but you also have to put out. You can't just tease me like that, right? Because I don't play that way.
Yeah. No, you're totally right. I mean, especially if you look at the cost for GPT-4 compared to any other model, including their own like 3.5 turbo, especially all the other open source models that Grok is able to run way cheaper than OpenAI.
Yeah.
The difference is staggering. Yeah, it's ridiculously expensive. OpenAI, GPT-4 in particular, sadly.
Sadly, yeah. And I'm hoping that as people discover these new research techniques, I'm huge on these open models. I'm huge that Llama's come out from Meta, and then extremely excited about the 400 billion parameter model that will supposedly drop from Meta in the coming months, or who knows, which would be super awesome. And I guess I also want to take this time to pimp my own app. So I made a LLM calculator for those who are trying to run models locally on the device. And it's actually kind of helpful to understand how much gigabytes of RAM do you need to run? Because the question is I have a 64 gigabyte RAM laptop, and if I have the 400 billion parameter model, what type of quantization do I need to run it in order to just actually run it on my device? And I don't know, this is not really looking too pretty right now. I have to have it at 1 bit quantization just to have 487 billion parameters. If I have it at 2 bit, I could barely run 243 billion parameters on my Mac. Bro, I'm going to need a Mac that's going to be bussing like crazy to...
You need a bigger boat, definitely.
Oh, no, this is going to be an expensive summer, man, with what's coming out. This is so sad.
It will be crazy because next year...
192, right?
M5 or anything. So the next few years will be extremely expensive for people like you and me, because we want to have the latest, the greatest, and especially memory is so expensive. Oh, no, sorry, let me rephrase that. They charge so much for memory, it doesn't make any sense.
That's right.
So it will be very expensive, yes.
I will have to sell a kidney. Okay, got you.
Yeah, yes, prepare for that.
If anyone's interested in a kidney, don't at me. Don't reach out. Yo, this is crazy. So I know. You also have your app store drop too, because you just one of the things that happened to you was the fact that you had to take your app from the App Store, Pico, and then publish it back onto the App Store, right?
Yes, I did. Yes. So
Mm.
my app got hacked in December, and it took me a while to get back because it turned out that the way to hide your keys is always done through like a what's called a reverse proxy server. So a server in the middle between like the app and OpenAI. And it wasn't really one that was particularly well suited for iOS and Mac apps. So I had to make that myself. So I open sourced that. It's called Pico AI Proxy, and it's free to use. You can like deploy it with one click. And if you do that, please also just download the app Pico from the App Store. See if you like it. It's a LLM frontend for now for OpenAI. I have a version that also supports Grok and other like LLM providers that will be in the App Store the next few days slash months, depending on Apple's review process.
That's right.
But yes, check it out. I do share some free codes now and then.
Ooh.
So check out my Twitter profile is right below here.
At Ronald
And
Monarch. So yeah, so
yes,
this basically means for you folks who use GPT, you can actually have your chats now with his app right here with his unmatched privacy. You need a touch ID or face ID or whatever to get in. So if you're actually having a conversation, I mean, it could be helpful for someone who's maybe dealing with a troubled one who has access to, sometimes there's some prying eyes, or if you leave your phone around or something, or if you share a device, that's kind of hanging around, everyone's wanted to use your chat GPT. Like, you don't want to have every conversation just out there and
exactly.
available, or
Yes.
somebody just goes to your chat GPT AI on the website, like on the thing. It's like they're just gonna start scrolling, be like, "Hey, yo, bro, what's good?" Like, I see your chats. But if you have like this app, basically, as a nice little premium, you can actually have it hidden behind this little thing. That's really nice. That's a really great feature. Privacy. Wow. And you could even chat with PDFs. Let's go, bro.
You can, yes. Oh, and photos actually. There's a funny
Wow.
thing. I actually glued my fingers together this morning, and I literally used like my own app, taking a photo of the glue that I used to unglue my fingers. True story.
Whoa. So you're like, how do I get this glue off my finger? What? That's so cool.
Yes.
Oh my God. And it's powered by GPT-4 Vision. So basically, free app to download. And then if you hit Ronald up, you could even use your own key and stuff. And
Yes,
then,
correct.
oh man, let's go. Let's go. This is great. So you haven't done that, definitely get on that. Pico Pro AI Assistant. Yeah, and that's supporting Ronald, and that's like literally just us right here. So if you have any questions, holler at us. We definitely got that for you. Wow. Well, yeah, it's like 1:49, and I'm actually headed to South America tomorrow, just out of nowhere. I'm
That's
gonna
so
go
nice.
to the Peruvian Amazon and also head to Machu Picchu. So I'll see if I could do a live stream just to say hello, and also kind of do some, photography stuff and other things. And, and then you got a bunch of stuff going on as well. And definitely follow us. Just continue. We really appreciate your support. We're trying to be here every Friday to do a show. If I'm in the middle of the Amazon and don't have service, then I'm probably not going to be here Friday, but we'll figure something out, and I'll keep posting content for you. So the handle is there at Ray Fernando 1337, and you can find me at rayfernando.ai. And that's where you can actually sign up for my little, email list and stuff, where I really don't spam you at all. I don't, people who have signed up, I haven't even sent an email yet, because I really am very focused on trying to, make sure I respect you and your privacy, and not really trying to bug you every minute with like, hey, today, this is what's going on. So yeah, stay tuned. A bunch of stuff dropping there. And Ronald, where can they find you?
Yep. Twitter is easiest. Ronald Manick is my handle. Hit me up. Always happy to chat about AI and other things.
Cool. Excellent. So appreciate everyone for tuning in. Stay tuned for the next show, and make sure you subscribe, like, and hit that bell icon, because we're definitely going to be around. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, and keep it 100. Be safe out there, and we'll see you soon. Peace.